Alright, what's crack-a-lackin'? Today's video I wanted to go over how to read a dyno sheet. So this is a dyno sheet on a Mustang dyno with my 2005 rev-up G35, and this is when it was completely bone stock. So there's really not an overlay here, so you really can't compare it to anything, but what you can see is where the dips are in it. Right there it's not smooth, and right there it's not smooth, and you go down to where it's not smooth and it'll say what RPM it's at, 5200. There's a dip at 5200. There's a dip at 3400, it looks like. And this is your air to fuel ratio. And this thing actually took a big spike because the only thing that was on the car was the cold air intake before. And this is your air to fuel ratio. And what that means is how much fuel and air is put together. So 14.7 is stoichiometry, I think is how you pronounce it. I'm no expert here, just learning. I know a pretty good bit. So that's 14 parts air to 1 part fuel. And that's where the car tries to be. So it'll richen itself up as the RPMs increase. As you can see here, these are the air to fuel ratio right here. So it'll drop down to like 12, which would be 12 parts fuel to 1 part air. So when they tune the car, they bring this down to a richer, as you can see in this line over here. This one actually has an overlay. So this would be the one when it's finished to bring it down richer. See, it's 12 across the entire curve. Alright, so let's go to this. This is when I first went to the dyno, and I had OEM exhaust, MREV2, 5/16 spacer, and test pipes. And as you can see here, I only made 10 wheel horsepower. But the MREV2 gave all the torque, which is 35 pound-feet. So it did as advertised, the MREV2 for Motordyne with the 5/16 spacer. So if you look at this curve, the overlay, you can see how whenever the curve goes to the left, that means the power is coming on sooner, which is more usable. So see this big gap right here? That's the power coming on sooner. If you look down at the RPMs, at 4200, instead of coming on at 150, you're coming in at the exact same RPM, you're having 200 horsepower. So down at 4200 RPMs, you can see that jump in power, which would be from 150 all the way up to 200. I mean, that's like 50 right there. But that's just as it goes up to the top here, to the very top of its curve where it only made it to 250. So here's the overlay from when I actually had resonated test pipes, NVIDIA Gemini exhaust, and went back to the dyno. You can see it went to 269 instead of 255. So the torque really didn't change, but the horsepower did because it was freeing up the bottleneck, which was the exhaust pipe of an OEM exhaust, which is a single, and I guess I could show it to you if you guys really want to see it. Where is it in here? So here's what I'm talking about. The OEM exhaust is just 2.25 inches. It's a wide pipe that comes into a single 2.25 pipe. So that was the bottleneck. Once I got the NVIDIA, it's 2.33 inches. Well, just a little bit bigger, but the difference is it's true dual. So that's why I was able to gain that power up to 269. So what's key is when you're looking at dyno charts from anybody that's saying they make power, you want to see the overlay, which that helps you see the gain. So again, moving the curve to the left brings the power on sooner, which is more usable. And this is the torque curve. See how the torque curve goes up? And this is a linear line. See how it just goes straight across? That means the power is very linear and the torque comes on very smoothly. And as you can see in this tune, see the bump in that line? The bump is gone. See the bump here? The bump has been smoothed out. So it makes the RPM a lot smoother as you rev through the rev range. And just remember, I got on a Mustang dyno, it was 269. And my mods were MREV2, 5/16 spacer, resonated test pipes, NVIDIA Gemini exhaust. Not until I went Motordyne with arc pipes and Shockwave did I get up to the 283. Even though it did the exact same pull consistently, basically a 270 on a hub dyno, which is a dyno pack. It did 269 on a Mustang dyno. And again, I figured my gains by the actual gain on the dyno, not by the overall number. Now when you get your tune, make sure your tuner actually does it in a 4th gear pull. A 3rd gear pull will skew these results. A 4th gear pull is what would keep it honest, because with a 3rd gear pull you can skew the results and it's not actually accurate. Well, I hope that helped you understand reading dyno graphs a little bit more better. Definitely having an overlay shows progress. Just a dyno graph that shows this, there's really not too much to read. You don't really have much to compare it from. So the baseline is important, and then the overall what happened after the tune. So you can compare the lines and you can see there was progress and power was made throughout the entire curve. That'll do it for today's video, and see you guys next video.